You good?
Yeah.
You rolling?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Roger, interview. Take 1. Settle. Get this out of here. Get this out of my face. How's this? Am I looking all right?
You're very handsome.
Yeah.
Your beard's kind of long.
Yeah, it needs trim.
Clayton interview. All right, you can put it on the floor in front of you.
All right, Huggy Bear.
All right.
Dylan interview, take 1.
Boom. All right, put that down. I'm gonna settle. And go.
I'll just... I don't know. Alright. Questions?
You look great. All right, ready?
No.
Go. I'm gonna put my hat backwards. My name is Dustin Matson. I am the director of Tapehead, also an actor in this movie. I play Roger. I wore a lot of hats. It made me sweat. I wore a plethora of hats. Art department, editor, director, actor, I don't know what else. Craft services. The reason I made Tapehead is because I'm a massive schlock horror fan, B horror fan. Kind of spent my whole life preaching about these movies that not a lot of people knew about. I hit this weird point in my life where I was like, all I'm doing is talking about other people's accomplishments in the horror genre, and I'm not really contributing to the horror genre.
We initially were going to do a cartoon for the channel, just trying to think of different ways to do things that are different than what anybody else is doing in the YouTube world, which is pointless because everything's been done. It's hard to think of anything original.
And, wrote this whole season of a cartoon, and we were going to have this villain named Tapehead, and it was going to be about these guys working in a video store.
And that's where Tapehead was kind of birthed, was a character in this cartoon we were going to be working on. And right about the time that was going on, the pandemic hit, so it kind of just altered everybody's plans, and
the cartoon just never came to fruition.
We kind of realized that a cartoon is, at least the one we were going to do, is really super ambitious and complex. And
we made the Halloween special, and it made me realize that we actually were kind of a talented group of people, and we could get together and we could probably make a movie.
When we were making a short for Halloween, we were going to do a special on the YouTube channel for Halloween and kind of make it like 20, 30 minutes long, like really kind of put all our effort into doing something outside of the norm and bigger and badder and better, WrestleMania 3 style, for the channel. And once we got done with that, I think that's when really the light bulb clicked in Dustin's head of like, I think we could do a movie. Let's do a movie.
So I sat down, and with the help of Chris Daniel and VHS Mikey, I kind of said, well, here's my idea for this. Let's try and write a script. Let's kind of see what we can do. And I bet we could do this for less than $5,000. Saved YouTube money and merch money for about a year. And let's just see what we could do.
It seemed like, well, maybe if we just tweak that and we do a movie instead, because I think it's always the thing of, well, we've talked about all these movies, maybe we should give it our shot at making our own movie.
I'm Dylan Weeks. I played Jacob Cobb / Tapehead, the most proficient videotape rewinder in all of Brower, Illinois. Dustin hit me up and said he was going to make a movie and asked if I wanted to be in it, and without even knowing any details, I was all in.
I'm Clayton. I played Cliff and the killer of Tapehead. So I got involved with the project because one of the guys who was supposed to play me dipped out of the film, and it was the day before filming. So Dustin messaged my dad, asked if I could be in the movie, and I said yeah. So
My name is Megan Matson, and I'm the director of photography for the movie Tapehead. Hi. Well, I've been doing photography for 10 years, senior pictures and weddings and family photos and all of that stuff, and so we kind of both decided to take it up a notch.
Megan and Dustin's work ethic and passion is absolutely infectious. If they ask you to do something as a favor, it's real easy to say yes because you know you're backing the right horse, so to speak. You just know they're onto something.
How I got involved in this project was my husband. This was his crazy idea.
Really? This is all Roger, aka Dustin's brainchild.
I wish I could take full credit for Tapehead, but it is very much Dustin and Megan's baby. But I like to think that I contributed a lot of the more silly elements, or at least influenced many of them. And I was glad that some of my ideas made the film. So hopefully you won't know which parts it is, but maybe you will. That maybe you'll get a chuckle or two at some of the stuff I did right.
My preparation for this whole project was way different from anything I've ever had to do. Okay, so if you go and you look at the credits for this movie, you'll see that I did a lot of the stuff. Between me, my wife, VHS Mikey, and Evil Dead Inc.'s, or Chris Daniel, we had a very short time to get everything from start to finish. And that meant a lot of set decorating, a lot of prop building or prop purchasing. Finalizing the script and figuring out what flowed best for our characters and things like that. Literally having a notebook for like scenes and being like, okay, do we have the cup? Do we have the fake ice? Do we have the fake liquor bottle? Do we have the gun, the robe, the Tapehead picture? Like, you know, all of these things. The blood that we ordered isn't going to be here until August, so we got to get different blood. When it comes to the wardrobe, making sure that Tapehead's bibs and, you know, all this stuff was weathered and ready to go, and have the storyboards. And is that close enough to the storyboards? Are we doing what we can? It seemed like from the second I decided we were going to make Tapehead, that every waking moment had to do with the movie. It was hectic, to say the least.
How I prepared, I changed my workout routine a little bit. You know, I always try to stay pretty active, so I just went for more of a bulking phase, a lot more heavy weight, lower repetitions, and pretty much any chance I could get to do some working out. If I was home for lunch, I would go do dips, push-ups. I'd go to switch laundry. I'd hit some dips, just trying to stay kind of swollen and tight throughout. So anything I could do, just trying to add more reps.
I prepared for this movie by working out, eating right, running, and then dropping all of that hard work and gaining 30 pounds of stress weight. I look absolutely terrible in this movie, and I'm going to kind of cringe any scene that I'm in. The best laid plans, I suppose, but yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
I wish I would have done more to prepare for it. I did a lot of YouTube university. I learned a lot from YouTube. I watched a lot of movies that were visually pleasing. I did a lot of research on the rules of cinematography, and I'm sure I broke a lot of those rules anyway.
Big spoiler here. I'm not really a big drinker at all. Any kind of like intense excitement, and I start like feeling like nauseous, and it's really kind of a burden. But I've tried to adopt it in my late 30s now. But in preparation for it, I had to go off to the side before kind of each day. I literally got to go off into another room, go hurl, and once it's kind of out of my system, for whatever reason in my head, I'm like, okay, you're fine now. Go out there and be goofy. That's how I handle it. I haven't found a better way yet. Maybe narcotics. Maybe I'll try that next.
I prepared for the role by just kind of going in with a positive mindset, reading and rereading the script multiple times to make sure, try to get my lines right. Had to grow my afro out, so that's kind of how I went into the role.
Well, for this project, I drew inspiration from a lot of those lesser-known directors, people you might not know about, people you probably never heard of, you know, not to be pretentious or anything of that nature. No, I'm just kidding. I drew a lot of inspiration from guys like Lloyd Kaufman, guys like Don Dohler, Sam Raimi, you know. The most fascinating thing about all of their starts for me is they were just a group of kids who decided, we got nothing better to do for this next 3 months. Let's, you know, get some money together and make a movie. There's a lot of these guys who make movies by any means necessary with no money. Those were my inspiration.
I like CJ Graham a lot in Friday 6. It's my favorite. I like the physicality he brought, kind of a bigger, thicker. Obviously, Kane's pretty notorious for Jason, but CJ was my dude.
I had a lot of influences by Creepshow, Return of the Living Dead, and Trauma movies, and I feel like I infected the movie a little bit with a little bit of that in there.
I really draw lighting inspiration from Italian films. What really put a spark in me was The Joker. I really, really love the composition of that movie, the lighting of the movie. It's too bad that I don't know more cinematographers, but when I see a movie that has really great cinematography, I take notice.
I'm beyond happy that I made this movie, despite the numerous things that we had to overcome in our short shooting time.
The biggest challenges I faced personally was a movie is not YouTube. I thought I could show up and just ad-lib my lines and do my wacky mic thing, and unfortunately that does not work out well on a set. You know, if you ad-lib a line, it kind of derails what everybody else is doing.
Did you really shit your pants back there? Sorry.
So I was really worried that me flubbing up my lines or changing them at the last second was kind of slowing down production quite a bit. And we had a very limited shooting schedule, so I would like to personally apologize to the cast and crew for being a stupid YouTuber.
Of course, I'm sure it's been beat to death by now, but that first day, just trying to shoot an outdoor scene super quick, and every person in this 40-person town decides to drive through and see what we're doing.
We just take over and we just do whatever we want.
Because when we tried to shoot him walking down the street in June, everybody in this town wanted to watch. So we had to sneak back over when no one knew we were making a movie and make a movie.
Being a redhead, I'm gonna burn in that hot sun real quick. That was rough, but I mean, I'm laughing about it entirely because like, oh, this will be funny later, because that's what comedy is. You know, it's tragedy plus time. So we've had some time now, so now it's funny as shit.
So yeah, some of the challenges, we did a test fit with the mask, and it fit nice. It was a little heavy, probably weighs close to 10 pounds.
10 pounds of silicone on your face.
But mobility wasn't really a problem. The eye holes are kind of small, so that was a struggle. And then everything was good until we got the visor, and I couldn't see. So pretty much did most of my scenes blind. You know, we would flip the visor up, take some steps, kind of count out that way, and then flip it down and just try to go blind.
The challenges
Other
I
than
faced
that,
were
yeah, the
probably
mask
trying not to
itself was
laugh.
pretty mobile. You know, I could move around, I could move my mouth, and vision wasn't terrible, but yeah, with the visor on, it was blind.
No, I don't. Did you notice?
Damn.
It's okay. We'll be.
You got this. Okay, now for this take, I want you to put your finger in his mouth and your other finger in me.
My straw hat. Get over it.
I see.
Alright, yeah, it's fine. That's perfect.
I literally beat myself.
We've all tried to hold back our laughter on that one.
Yeah, it was hard trying not to laugh, especially when one of us would mess up our lines. So, I think that's really about it, and trying to get into frame at some points, but other than that, it went smooth.
One was the heat. It was unbearably hot. We shot the first week of June. So it was somewhere, I think the low was in the 95, 96. And we're in this old vet clinic. And when you're shooting inside, you would think, oh, well, you're inside, you're out of the sun, you don't have to deal with that. You can't have air condition on or fans on or anything like that because they pick up on the microphone. So, you know, the first 2 hours of shooting would always be okay. They would be like, all right, it's not miserable hot because we tried to start early every day. But at a certain point, the sun's up high, the building is baking, there's a lot of bodies in there. I mean, we kept the crew relatively small, one, because we couldn't afford anybody, but two, because of the COVID stuff, right? So we couldn't have 20 people running around doing every single job. We had, you know, one person doing 10 jobs.
I found the shoot to be kind of challenging, mostly because this is the first one that I've ever done. This is the biggest thing that we have ever tried to accomplish, and it was really overwhelming. I like to think I work well under pressure, but sometimes I don't.
Can somebody? I just want to be able to.
No, I'll do this.
Okay.
Where am I? Not having people read my mind like Dustin can was very frustrating for me because I forget that other people can't do that and they don't know what I say and what I mean. I'm really proud of the thing that we've created, despite, you know, the limited budget, the limited shooting time, and the limited knowledge of it.
To the what you want to put that tape on my gimbal? I don't think so.
I mean, we've been on a few movie sets before, you know, lower budget stuff, and you know, none of us have been in the positions that we were in until this film. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's safe to say that for everybody that was true.
Doing the chokeslam bit through the table, we tried very much to make that as safe as possible. And I remember doing it, like doing the setup for it. We only had one balsa wood table, so nothing like that to be working on my mind also. Like I only got one shot to take this table out. So we did one faux kind of meat jump, and my back just kind of went.
Are you okay?
I just said, I can't do any more stunts. We got to do it for real, because if I do any more like practice runs, like I won't have anything in me, and I'll be a crippled man trying to do this for real. Yeah. So just fucking went for it and hope for the best. And again, when you look at like the side shots of that scene, I'm a complete puss. Like it doesn't look like nothing. And it is nothing. But Dustin and Meg are able to turn my chicken shit into chicken salad, and it looks gorgeous with what they did with it.
Mikey made some Nickelodeon slime, and it wasn't bad. You know, it was like, was it applesauce, some green food coloring, and I don't know, some cornstarch or something. It wasn't bad, but it would get inside the mask. So when I'd go to like spew that out, it would get like behind the lip piece and down into the neck. And so I was wearing sweat and slime all inside the mask.
I guess one unexpected challenge was I was at my grandma's house and my fro was huge, so I thought it would be funny to straighten my hair since I thought I was done filming for the day. I was not. As we had gotten done straightening my hair, my mom ran to me and she's like, "Your dad's gonna pick you up and get you back to set." I'm like, "What?" She didn't realize I'd straightened my hair immediately, and I saw the moment where she realized that my hair was straight and her eyes went wide, and she said, "You need to get your hair wet and dry it off with a blow dryer so it gets big again." So that's what I did. But apparently when you straighten curly hair, all you have to do is get it wet and it puffs right back up.
Did a scouting for the location and figured everything out. There were 2 restaurants really, really close in proximity with where we were shooting, so I thought, I got that covered. And when we actually shot the movie, both of those places were not serving food, so that was a challenge.
I feel like this is almost over, and I want to be able to shit at my own house and fucking go to bed, not at 2:30 in the morning. That's how I feel. It's going well, but the final leg is the worst leg. So I'm ready to fucking die. I'm ready to shoot my electrician buddy, and I'm ready to get the fuck out of here.
You got 12 people on the cast and crew. You want to make sure everybody's happy, everybody's fed, everybody's hydrated. So it wasn't that in itself wasn't necessarily a challenge, but there's a PR element involved, you know, with making a movie. Just you don't want someone going into the green room and being like, "This sucks. I will never do this again." So there's a lot of making sure everybody's happy and doing whatever you can, whether that's someone getting a speeding ticket and you taking care of it because they're working on your movie because they love you.
You know, basically not knowing what I was doing. You know, I was just like, "Ha, got this. This is fine. I know what we're doing. It's fine." I have no idea what we were doing. But I think it turned out great. There are some shots where I'm just like, "Oh, I did that."
Probably the only thing I could think of that's the most unexpected thing that happened was during my wrestling match. Dustin just left that up to me to be like, "You go ahead and choreograph that." He had to go do something else, so it was literally like time for me and Dylan just to be like, "All right, let's work our shit out here. What's our match gonna be like?" And we did a couple of practice runs on what we were gonna do with the space we were confined in outside, and then went inside, did it a couple more times, and pretty much we had it down. Like, we're like, all right, we're good. Even with his limited vision, you know, he could only see a bit here and a bit here. We pretty much had it on lock, and then we went to go film it. And as soon as we started filming it, he puts me in the side headlock, and my glasses fucking snap right on the side. I just got these glasses like not even 6 months ago. And always listen to your gut. Always listen to your gut, because I remember before we started filming, I do a dramatic taking off the hat, which we didn't quite get filmed the way we were wanting to because we were just caught up in the moment. But when I was taking my hat off, I had the thought, I was like, I should take my glasses off too. I was like, I already did like 4 or 5 practice runs with this with them on. It'll be fine. And then bam, first shot broke. So luckily our amazing effects artist Chelsea was able to rig together with rubber bands to get it to hold in place. Just enough to get me through the rest of the weekend, because we still had more stuff to shoot with me. You might see in a couple of those shots in the match, I have black rimmed glasses on, but they don't have the skull in the middle of it, because those are Chelsea's glasses she loaned me for the shots while she was working on my real ones. So that was probably the most unexpected thing that happened to me.
So that mask is pretty thick. I'm sure there'll be some footage of just the mask.
Here it is. The immortal masks.
What, is your nose comfortable in there?
Yeah, it's right in. How's it going there, Jacob?
It's anywhere from 3/8 of an inch thick, probably to a couple inches in some areas, and my own sweat was coming through the mask, and I sweat through the thermal and then through the bibs. So it was a lot. I had a target goal. Normally I'm about 200 pounds. My frame's pretty small naturally. Like normally I'm about 175 to 180. I've been around 200 for a while. I thought if I got to 215, it would just be that extra thickness I wanted for the role. So I got up to 215 prior to shooting, and that's the morning of that Thursday we filmed. I weighed 215, and then Monday morning after filming, I weighed like 203.
I could probably go for hours about the challenges, but all in all, it was a super positive experience.
Getting my heart ripped out, and then the fake blood getting all over my face and on my glasses, and as soon as I spit up the blood, I had realized that it got all over my glasses and all over my face. And I still have some fake blood in the creases of my nose piece and the lenses of my glasses, the upper lenses, like right here. I still have some crusted fake blood. So probably those two, probably the funniest things that happened.
One of the deleted scenes for this movie is we were doing some flashbacks of backstory of what our characters were like. So my backstory is, of course, I was a former professional wrestler. So we had shot a vignette where I have the championship belt over my shoulder, and I'm channeling Triple H and spitting water and shit. And of course, it feels goofy as shit. But we show Dustin, show the wife, and they're like, "It looks awesome." It's almost like you've been watching this shit all your life. You kind of picked up on nuances and things like that. Definitely, like when we get to the trail, when hopefully I can get to play the killer, and then I can just utilize body language and shit, because I'd really like to flex that. I don't think I can act worth a shit, but I feel like I might be able to pull off some Kane Hodder, Jason body language type stuff.
We're on a pretty tight schedule. We had people from out of town. We knew they had a limited amount of time to film, so I didn't want to mess up any shots. And so the showdown with Evil and I, when I've got him in the headlock and I bend over and sweat's just pouring out of the mask, and I was like, oh, I'm killing the shot. And Dustin's like, keep up the drool, it looks great. I'm like, that's not drool.
What? It's sweat? That's sweat pouring out of you?
Gross body fluids everywhere. So yeah, that's a pretty good story.
In the back room, we were chucking fake wrenches and fake hammers at each other very hard, and it was very noisy.
So my favorite scene to shoot would have been when Evil and I kind of got to choreograph our final showdown, and then that was pretty top notch until we filmed the Gravedigger scene, and just because of what Anthony brought to that character, thank God I had a mask to hide my laughs, because he's hilarious. And then just how that looks, once I've seen some of the edited footage, that's probably my favorite scene.
I would like to make another horror movie, maybe a bit darker, more serious tone, but definitely another horror movie. Having a small part, I feel like, was good for my first time being in a movie, because I feel like if I had a bigger part, I would probably mess up my lines more often than I did. So having a small part to start off was probably the best option.
I mean, we already kind of came up with the idea for the Dudes Night In movie, where there's two late 30s guys are going to act like kids again and have a sleepover, going to order pizza, play video games, or accidentally, summon ancient evil. So we have that.
My personal Studio Mikey projects, I definitely want to create a comedic cinematic universe centered around video store and drive-in culture, and I kind of want all the movies to build on each other. Probably a little ambitious for me, and I probably got a lot to learn to get there, but it's something kind of milling around for the moment.
For the most part, I'm a big popcorn horror fan. I love the splat stick. I love movies that don't take themselves too seriously, right? That's kind of my whole bread and butter. So I really kind of gravitate towards a horror comedy approach. I would like to eventually down the road turned Tapehead into more of a serious horror. I don't want to say icon. That sounds super bold and like pretentious. Like he's an icon, but I mean, I did get him tattooed on my arm, so he's an icon to me and forever in my heart. But I would like to take the franchise in a different direction. I'd like it to get pretty gnarly. This first movie was a good like testing the water, and I also learned really quickly that I'm not an actor. So
I'm just waiting for lines. I don't know my lines. Lines. What's my line?
Jesus Christ, we might not even be asleep by then.
I saw this. Vietnam vets, dead grandmothers.
Well,
I'm a great actor!
oh, can we get that again? You were clipping?
I'm a great actor!
Well,
Well, what, dude? The electrician.
from now on, I'll be behind the camera, yelling at other people to do better. That's gonna be my job. I think that's what I'll do. I'll stand behind the camera and go, Steve, could you say that again? Because that was terrible.
More Tapehead movies. You know, I definitely, once you get the mask on, I was in it. You know, we tried to kind of keep it cool and take it off if we could, but once I was in it, I was just 100% want to go. Let's film it. You know, 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever. You know, let's just get into it. But yeah, you know, something more, even a darker take on it. You know, we could be more serious, have it be more menacing. You know, horror is a genre that I really grew up on. I'd like to do more of that. My daughter Olivia got to be on set for the last day of filming. She's like, I want to be in the movie. And so I asked her, I said, you want to be the final girl? And she's like, no, I want to be like a little Tapehead. She doesn't want to be like the survivor. She doesn't want to be the hero. She's like, I want to be like a little Tapehead.
We actually kind of, like, in between, like, sets on Tapehead, we kind of came up with the idea for the trail. Me, the wife, and Dylan were kind of, and Dustin, I believe, came in at one point. We're all just sitting around talking about what a good killer name is. Like, Regina was going through some of the history of the building we were shooting in, and finding these real names that are just like perfect horror movie, you know, backwoods, shit goes south kind of name. We totally just kind of wrote our own story with these names right there in the green room of Tapehead. We're like, this needs to be done too. Also, it's like we want to film something kind of faux indoors, or at least in the fall type, because we didn't want to deal with the heat no more. So it's time to complain about the cold and outdoor stuff. So let's do that next. Let's see how much we can not like doing that when the day is done. So the more we do things, we definitely want to hire professional actors and not us, because we're not. I do want to totally be the killer in the trail, and I want Dylan to make his return in the trail, and it's time for old Evil to get his wind back.
I want to make all kinds of films. I really love being behind the camera. I really do. Seeing people take the time and believe in this really sparked my creative bug again, and now I just want to do everything that I can, you know. Definitely more horror. I really like the dark, gritty sort of thing. That's what I want to do.
I think something I would do differently is maybe hire a real actor instead of a silly old VHS related YouTuber. I'm sure someone out there would do a much better job than me, but I don't regret doing this movie. I think it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to many more films with the team in the future.
I definitely want a lot less speaking lines, because even rehearsing as much as we did, as soon as we're in the moment, we're like, fuck, what do I say?
I don't know that I would change anything. I really like the way it went. It was pretty smooth. Drink more water. Probably hydrate better. But other than that, I don't really have any regrets. You know, I don't think anything, there weren't really any hiccups. You know, even the heat, the mask, all that stuff, I'd put it on in a second.
I would allow myself more time on the next project. I would schedule things out, really be able to take my time. Because with Tapehead, it was a lot of, hey, we have 4 days. Run and gun and go, go, go. No sleep, no stopping. It will be scheduled long in advance, and I will give myself some breathing room. as opposed to trying to get 50 shots in one day. We'll dumb it down to 12 so we can shoot casually, allow for ad-libbing, and then be able to call it a day and not be exhausted and miserable and still be able to be productive. I would pump the brakes. I would just slow down.
Try and focus more on remembering the lines and not to look directly into the camera as often. So, yeah, I think that's probably what I would change, just to critique a few more things.
I would like to remember to write everything down. Everything. When I go to the bathroom, when I eat, what's where. Schedule a little bit better. I think I did a pretty good job of having everything organized, but after we got done shooting, I watched some more YouTube videos and found out how to make a better workflow. So I want to remember. That.
We did the best we could with what time we had, because you don't have time to go, let's do another one, you know. So with the next movie, we pump the brakes, we slow it down, and I feel like you'll see performances really elevated by whatever we do, because we'll have that time and we'll have that freedom and that flexibility, rather than just being like, we don't have time, sun's going down, go, you know. So sure, I'm the director of this, you know what I mean, but this was a group effort all across the board. Everybody had awesome ideas, because here's the thing with making this movie, everybody who decided to work on this movie, they did it out of for passion, out of love and respect for the movie itself, out of just wanting to get together and create something with all of our friends. If I could go back in time, I would tell younger me, hey, you need to assert yourself a little more and chase your dreams. Like, don't settle. All I wanted out of life was I wanted to go to Tom Savini Effects School. I wanted to do these things, but I was a bum who didn't try to do well in school. I just kind of thought, this will be over in 4 years, you know, and I don't need to worry about this crap. There was a lot of shit talking too for, you know, me as a kid going, I'm gonna make movies, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and it took another 18 years, right, or more. So if I could go back in time, I would slap myself silly and say, start grinding, you know, make something, do something. Don't just be content playing Grand Theft Auto with your buddies. Like, go create with your buddies. Don't waste time. Don't waste time. Don't do it.
The biggest thing I would tell myself is, dude, take better care of your VHS tapes. Oh man, if I just had diamond hands, I would be like rolling in it right now. And also, quit dating all these stupid people and concentrate on filmmaking. Because none of them are going to be there for you, but your career and your dreams are always going to be there, and they're way more important than being validated by somebody else.
I've always kind of had that fantasy of, like, if I could take a 38-year-old me brain and relive from like a junior high or high school years on, how I would do things differently. Patience, and just work on that anxiety, because it's gonna really test you. If you thought it was testing you in high school and in that time frame, just wait. You're gonna make a movie, and that's really gonna fuck with your anxiety. So plan your tattoos out nice and slow. They will come, and you'll eventually look how you want to look. Just be patient and get out there and try stuff. Do a lot of Rob Van Dam level stretching, so you aren't in as terrible shape as you end up being without, you know, that advice. So I would tell 20 years ago me.
If I could go back and give my 18-year-old self some advice, it would be to never stop learning. Just keep filling your brain with as much knowledge as you possibly can. You never know when it's going to come in handy, and you don't know what you like until you know what you don't like. So just try whatever, you know. Find a passion. If you don't like it, drop it. And if you love it, just do it till it kills you.
Start sooner, you know. I always wanted to do fun stuff like this, and it's just never really took risks or took chances. I always kind of played it safe. So yeah, I wish I would have jumped on opportunities like that.
I would give the advice of do what you want and don't be scared to do it. Yeah, I think that's the advice I would give. Be less nervous. Yeah, it's probably the advice I would give to my younger self.
Again, I'll do whatever the dude requires and wants me to do. I think I just found that I've always had that thought going in the back of my head of like, what are you supposed to do with your life? Everyone has that, that crisis spot of what are you gonna do with your life? What's your purpose? What's your meaning? And I still don't have a clue what it is really. Between my wife, her work, and what Dustin does, is I'm a very weird ass muse to these two different entities to get their creative things out into the world. So I just decided I think that's my purpose in life, is just to assist at least these two people in doing all the wild stuff they wanted to do, and for whatever reason, somehow I'm a weird cog in that wheel. So
working on Tapehead was very enjoyable. Everybody had such a positive attitude. Everybody was so appreciative of everybody else. Seeing so many people come together for so many days, even though it was just 4 days, it's hard. It's hard to get 12 people all in the same place on the same day at the same time for 4 days in a row. And I'm really humbled and appreciative of all of the time, energy, and talent everybody gave us during this project. It leaves me speechless. It really does. Thinking of how many people are so happy and how many people have been brought together because of this. There's been so many new... Nope, I'm not gonna cry. It's pretty cool to say, because of Tapehead, people are best friends now, and people have met, and we all have this little love child, and I couldn't have asked for a better group of people to have been part of it.
It's a great film family.
It was a very fun experience. I would definitely do it again if asked. I would definitely do it again without a second thought.
Yeah, hopefully you guys all get a chance to dig into this movie, have as much fun with it as we did making it. It was a lot of fun, a lot of time and effort, blood, sweat, tears. It was just a good experience overall. So we hope that comes through. We hope you guys all dig the movie. Stay tuned for what's coming next. I know Dustin, he's going to have a lot more projects coming down the road. We want to keep Tapehead alive, keep doing movie after movie, and see how many movies we can get in the franchise.
This is the first step of really being able to do that. A big project, not just a 2-minute short film or something of that nature. This was a massive undertaking, and I'm super glad I did it. It's gonna sound trite, it's gonna sound cliche, but it's never too late to decide you want to do something creative, and there's really no reason to not do something like this. There's no reason to not chase after something you want to do. The whole point of making this movie was just to kind of prove that with the camera that we had on hand, with the boom mic that I've had in a closet for 10 years almost, and with a couple of bucks and a couple of buddies, you can make something. And you can turn some heads. If I never do another thing, if I get discouraged and walk away and never direct another movie, or whatever the case may be, this is forever. My friends and my family can go, you remember that time he made that stupid ass movie? And pull it off the shelf and watch it and get a giggle out of it. And I think that's important. I think it's important to leave something behind, and I think we did that with Tapehead for sure. But I want to say real quick, I want to say thank you to everybody who took the time out to support us one way or the other. If you bought it, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for checking it out. Thank you for watching all this stuff, and hopefully you got bit by the bug and you got inspired. That's the best thing I can hope for, is that aspiring filmmakers see what we've done and go, if those assholes can do that, why can't we?